Good morning, everybody. You're tuned to Computers 2K Now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next 2 hours, along with Spence.
Good morning. You look
Morning.
bald.
I had a haircut yesterday.
I think you did.
Yeah.
I think you had a polish too.
No. And Gal is here.
Good morning.
Good morning. Nick. Oh, there's Nick. Just firing up his setup. We'll probably see him in a second. Our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K Voice on Skype. And today's show is made possible by Vmix Software, by dudeinit.com, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. I changed everything here as far as there is Nick. Good morning, Nick.
Heard that dude's kind of a jerk.
Yeah. I had some problems with streaming out to keep the stream up and all that, and we were using Wirecast. That for some reason that just stopped doing what it's supposed to do effectively. So a few months ago, Nick actually donated a version of vMix to Nissan Communications for that purpose, and I put it up, and Nick set it up, and everything is working okay now. The only thing this is the first time that I'm using it for the live, and for some reason the volume was way up. I said, "What? It's not even moving." When I started the intro, and I thought it was hung, but right now I lowered the feed to that machine to about halfway, and it's right. So I need to do some adjustments later. But yeah, it's been working fine. Alan, you're saying there's a buzz? Do I understand?
We don't broadcast. We're not with the buzz anymore.
No, he says nothing like a good buzz. Cut.
It's a terrible.
Oh, he's talking about my hair. Never mind.
No, there's a terrible ground loop on the audio. That's what he's talking about.
There is?
Yeah. You're not going to resolve that now.
Not hearing it here.
Well, I guess you're supposed to check online and not here. Interesting. Well, we'll see later. Yeah, we'll see later. But is it only when you turn the volume way up, or is it there all along?
It's there all along.
Shoot.
Switch over to Twitch, Alan.
What do you mean?
Right. Is it Twitch on the production computer?
No. Facebook is on the production.
Then switch to Facebook.
Yeah, but I'm listening locally. I'm not listening to
Yeah, watch on Facebook. Problem solved.
How long before you have the satellite network going on?
Yeah,
Aren't we signing up with Elon Musk to have a direct channel on the low Earth orbiting satellites.
It's weird because it's real low on Facebook. But why is it so low on Facebook?
All right, all right, all right. Move on. Deal with that after.
All right.
You're not gonna resolve this now.
No, I can. All I have to do is just do there.
You want me to call Facebook?
No, no, no. Okay, it's fine. So anyway, what else is going on?
Nothing. Nothing's changed. The whole last week has just been nothing happened.
You know, it was a
Very dull.
slow day for news. Real slow.
Everybody's busy just with the other news.
Yeah.
There is no other news.
I know it's
Exactly.
we need to wait and see what's going to happen now. It's going to be a fiasco, but it should be a fiasco. The only thing that I saw, and I talked with Nick about it this week, and I saw this morning when I went to promote the show, is that Fox News is dead.
Oh gosh.
I mean, no, they had a picture of a headstone, and it
Yeah.
says Fox News 1996
I
2020.
tuned in. I have it on my office TV, and I tuned it in. And the banner across the bottom, and this is this weekend people that are on at that time. Who I would never expect. It's not that they went along with it. The two guys were like sitting there, like, you see them kind of cringing. But they fired Janine.
Yeah,
Just
yesterday.
Janine yesterday because she was going to have a show about voter fraud. Fired
Yeah.
her.
It's just absolutely ridiculous what's going on. Uh, uh, the way that things are changing and all that. And
Well,
Well,
one of the things that the word I keep hearing, and we're all technically minded individuals, so this should be rather concerning, is the word glitch. We've heard there's been lots of glitches, which being a technical individual, is not really an accurate term. Glitches are very rare. There are programming errors, but the term glitch is
I think it's meant to
rather
be.
misleading.
I think it's meant to be misleading in that it implies it's like, oh, it's just a transient thing. We fixed it. When some people think that these errors were about to be discovered, so they have to come up with a plausible reason why it happened. Just like polling, right? You got the polls so wrong. It's like at the day before they tighten up, and all of a sudden they're pretty accurate because you can't risk revealing how what you were doing all along was a fraud. So this is a way to provide a little cover to say, oh, we discovered the glitch and we fixed it. Well, without going full conspiracy theory here, there were some things that came out that I was following over the weekend that were related to technology, related to voting machine technology, and how there was a last minute update done to many of these voting systems across the United States a day or two before the election. They came in and did a software update. And anybody ever hear of Hammer and what was the other system? Hammer. And
Yeah, I've heard of Hammer. I don't remember what the other one was.
Hammer and there's another name. They're two apparently NSA developed programs that can do great damage to, they can basically infiltrate software databases and change them. And there was a test. I watched a video testimony. It was a YouTube recording of a court case about 6 or 7 years ago. A guy came up and they said, so explain your background. And he was testifying on behalf of this case. He said, well, I'm a software programmer. Well, what do you do? I said, I write software for voting machines. Well, and he told them about how there's software that he specifically wrote, that can flip, can take a 50-50 election and make it 49-51. just by applying this, and it just happens in the system. It's not like they changed the way things are scanned. It's a database tool. It goes in and says, okay, let's adjust the numbers just a little bit. And so this is the kind of stuff that is coming out now, and you got to take it for what it is. Like, it could just be somebody throwing something out there because it sounds good, or
You got to take it with a grain of salt.
yeah, well, until it's proven. But
Yeah.
the point is that it needs to be investigated and not
absolutely. And
just told.
I'm hoping that they're going to investigate everything that's going, because I was talking with you, Spence, and with Nick. I don't understand that system that if election day is November 3rd and the polls close at 7 p.m., what is this thing about allow 10 more days for ballots to come in?
Well,
And
but hold on. Yeah, but that's not technology. I mean, you can.
I
That's been
understand.
argued.
I understand.
Yeah, I mean,
but
yeah,
I'm talking about the investigations here.
well,
there's too many things that are not right, and hopefully somebody will look into it.
What it's going to come down to, Amnon, is that
let's not get into that thing, because Nick is right. It's not technology. It's
no,
just,
it isn't.
but on a technological front, though, I do find it interesting it takes so long to get these numbers, as all of the voting is done digitally. Obviously, you go in now in some states, North Carolina being one of them, you fill out a paper ballot, but then it is put into a Scantron machine. So all of that data is available in a digital format and actually transmitted. And this is the way that it works, at least in the state of North Carolina. Every single county has got a board of elections. There are precincts inside of your county. So in the state of New Hanover, in the case of New Hanover County, there are 43 precincts. All 43 of those precincts transmit their data digitally via flash drive to the Board of Elections. That data is then dumped into a database and then transmitted to the State Board of Elections. I don't know how there's such a large delay in the time. I mean, data is instantly available.
right.
Well, the main delay is because I don't know what entity in the state changed the rule, but they said we have to allow more time for ballots to come in.
Yes.
Because if you didn't, so the thing is, if your ballot isn't postmarked the day before election day, your absentee ballot in North Carolina, there was no mail-in voting. Mail-in voting and absentee ballots are two different things, right? Mail-in voting is where you get an unsolicited ballot. They just send it to you and you fill it out and you return it. Absentee ballot is where you request an absentee ballot. They send you one, you fill it out, you have it witnessed, and you mail it in, and it gets collected. Absentee ballots typically and provisional ballots are not really used if the election is a clear case winner. If the guy is ahead by 1 million votes, they don't even bother with those. They don't have to, because they know they know how many ballots were sent out. So they know there's 500,000 ballots out. The guy's ahead by 1 million. He can't possibly win. They don't even bother counting those. But in a close election, they have to. So now, another reason why the results can be delayed, and it's not excusable to say 12 days, is that they have to start counting the provisional and the absentee ballots that would normally not be part of an election that was not close. So that's a reason why you see a slight delay.
Oh.
But these precincts are supposed to be prepared to do this and trained to do it in the event that the election is close.
Well, I don't know that we're talking technology.
But adding
they
12,
were talking about they have to be postmarked, right? Well,
did you hear the scandal about the postmarks?
no.
There's a state now where they have actual whistleblowers have come forward and said that they were told by the staff at the post office to backdate the stamping.
That's what I was saying. I mean, I was talking about people that had stamp machines, metered mail, instead of sticking a stamp on it, you can put whatever date you want on it.
Yeah, but that's it has to be the date it's processed. But a
You-
meter, I know what you're saying, but it's the point is though that it still has to go through another machine where it's canceled.
Yeah, but the point here is that if you put it in the mail by your date on the 2nd, but it took the post office until the 7th, you still put it in on the 2nd. And this is technology that allows you to do it and cheat with it. So there's just too many. But it's
point is
interesting.
that it just happens in certain states where there's a challenge to this. It's going to be
Well, the post office is supposed to look at it and say, hey, the postman's supposed to look at the letter that is being sent, put in the mail out. And if today is the 3rd, he's supposed to look at the stamp and see that it says the 3rd. I used to have a meter. And many times, you wait, you don't put it out there, and then you put it a day later, and the postman will bring it back. He said, you need to stamp it again with 0, so it will go because it's
waited too long.
It's over. But other times, I mean, it may take some postmen to do it, but most of them don't do it. Anyway, let's
Gene makes a great point in chat. Move on.
Yeah. All right.
Move on.
Let's see what else is happening. Now, you think you're getting too many texts and messages now?
Oh,
listen to this. The federal government has cleared the way for collection agencies to send unlimited texts, emails, and even instant messages to debtors on social media platforms. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau issued a final rule late last week outlining how collectors can use the new communication methods. The federal agency, which is charged with protecting Americans from financial abuse, did not limit the number of messages collectors could send, but it did require that each message come with instructions on how to opt out. The Bureau also limited the number of times collectors may call someone to 7 calls per week for each debt. And if they follow the rules and only call and text and email, really people that are late, that's one thing. But I can see this rule being abused in a way that we've never seen before. And
I'm already getting lots of bogus text messages from long lists of numbers that send weird cryptic emails with a link that I've warned I actually texted back to the people on the list because they were saying, take me off your list, stop this crap, I'm calling the FCC. And it's like, it's not going to do any good. I said, don't respond because then you're confirming that you're real.
That's the old trick in the book. Absolutely.
All of a sudden, what was my clean personal email address is suddenly now being bombarded with all kinds of weird advertisements. And
has anybody else given up on that? I for a period of time was trying to run the zero inbox thing.
Yeah.
Lost cause.
As far as what? As far as text?
Well, no, email as well. I mean, Spencer's talking about email spam.
Yes. Oh, emails, man. Yep. I do have a computer migration upgrade story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Windows, I took 2. I don't think I talked about this much last week because I really hadn't finished it yet. But I had a customer with a couple of, one was a Windows 7 laptop, the other was a Windows 8.1 laptop, and wanted to migrate. And got him 2 new Lenovo. Actually, very good deal on these Lenovo machines. Windows 10 machines. And the environment was they have a remote desktop provider that gives them cloud. Basically, it's not a cloud. I guess you could call it a cloud. They host their business applications in this network, and they use remote desktop, Microsoft Remote Desktop, to give them access. That was the only part of this upgrade that worked. It was great. Once you did that, bang, done. The rest of it was just a mess trying installing Office 365. And mainly on one machine, it was Outlook was the issue. I had 3 email addresses. Two of them were POP, and one was a uh, Exchange server. It was his Microsoft ID he had to create years ago in order to buy Office 365. So never uses it for anything else. But that one configured great. Does anybody use the wizard in Office to configure new email addresses?
Yes. Fantastic.
And except if you're POP and you use the
Oh.
wizard, it will configure it as IMAP.
Not
Ooh,
if you
that's no
do
good.
it manually.
No, I said the wizard.
Oh,
If you
okay.
use the wizard, you think, oh, the wizard, this is great. Just put in the email address. It goes and say, click, 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 click. It's checking, done, configured. You're ready to go, right? Well, no, you're not. Because if it was POP and you were using PST files prior, downloading all your mail to your Outlook ain't going to work no more because that server is going to fill up real fast if you don't have a lot of storage. And that's what happened. Completely froze this account, had to call the provider and get them to up the storage in order just to get the account to work. And then had to go in and reconfigure Outlook because I used the wizard. Hey, it's working. I did test emails and they worked great until the server was full. So that's partially on me. I just didn't realize that was going to happen. And so I had to go in and remove those. And then thank God I had saved current copies of this PSC files and migrated them over and all that. It's working fine now, but it was pretty weird for it. Just kept changing as things got worse and worse until I finally had to just remote in and just wipe out those accounts and start over. But that wasn't fun.
But you got
And
it.
yeah, I got it. Eventually got it done. The other part of my strategy was to have, they had a really nice high-end Netgear Nighthawk R8000 router. This is the AC, high-end AC router. It was like new. It was like almost $300. Had it for a couple of years. Has on the back USB 2.0 and USB 3.0 ports for attaching whatever. I mean, you can plug in a printer, you can plug in storage. And my plan was to plug in a USB hard drive and make it a local network drive and then run local backups to that drive. And then I also had a cloud. I bought Acronis to use as their backup strategy because it lets you do hybrid backups, meaning you can back up to the Acronis cloud and you can also back up to any accessible drive that you can get to, you can back up to. Network drives, whatever. And so I had that set up, and the drive that I bought, which was a 4 terabyte Western Digital drive, was not recognized by the Netgear router. And I found an old list. Amnon, you helped me find this list. I found an old list, and it just happened that the one I bought was the one that was excluded, said doesn't work.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to go back. I bought a Seagate equivalent 4 terabyte drive that I'm going to go back with and plug it in. That supposedly works according to the list. And so that I still haven't fixed that issue yet.
No.
But overall, it worked. I mean, it was just, thank goodness for very big USB flash drives to help move data over. And the apps that I installed were relatively simple. But the two biggest issues was dealing with his Microsoft account and getting access because the password was wrong. I couldn't find the password. I had to reset the account and then I had to reset the password on the email in order to get into the account so I could reset it. That was the part that was tough. But, documented everything. Yeah.
I had something like this week with a customer that got a new machine, and she bought a new Office 2019 with it. I mean, they gave her a card with the thing to scratch off and go in. But
It's like you may win a license
no,
to.
no, and it said to go to office.com/setup. So I set up her machine and then went to do this. It says, okay, what's the password? So she's not here. So I call and I ask, and a couple of hours later, I have no idea. This was set up years and years ago. So I'm going through the uh, forgot password, and they send you a code. So I'm waiting for her to send me the code, and she did. Then they ask you all these questions about, do you have any other? Do you have this? Did you ever buy that? Did you ever use this? And she doesn't remember. She said, I use Skype, but not under my name. I, you know, I bought Office, but I don't remember when it was or what. And they want the last four digits of the credit card. And she said, I have no idea. She didn't have any of that other than that she did buy. So after going again and again and again through it, because, oh, you didn't have enough here, you didn't have enough there, it it was sent out and they said, we'll let you know. But an hour later, got an email say, you don't have enough information. You need to fill it up again. We cannot reset your password. So I remember reading in it in the very beginning, say, if you don't have the password, you can set up a new account. I said, the hell with all this. I'm setting up a new account. And that's what I did. I set up a new account, wrote down the password, and did the whole thing with a new account. I don't know that she was losing anything by not having the old account because she never
How
used it.
many machines were associated with the old account? Just one?
Just one.
Oh, okay. Then that you can. I think you can transfer if you take the old machine. If you want to keep using, you can log out and log in with the new account.
But there's no reason because she never logged in to the account. She never used.
Oh, so it doesn't matter.
She never used
yeah,
the Microsoft account.
that's what I did with this. These are I use local accounts. I did not use
exactly.
Yeah. I mean,
But
I had
it
to
was
use. I had once I had the login to Office 365. I went and I logged in there and I downloaded and installed Office.
But
that was the only reason I needed it.
The point here is it was such a pain in the butt to go through all this. And they even, I mean, they said that if you set up a two-factor, then there is no way to do it. And I said, well, I don't know if it was or it wasn't, but I mean, they took me through all these forms and and I was saying, well, never mind that. I should have done that to begin with. Spent a few hours just trying to recover.
You know who was amazingly helpful and quick to work with?
What?
Earthlink. Did you know the Earthlink is still there? They still provide internet service.
No, they don't. They just email.
Yes, they do.
Really?
Yes, they have DSL. They still have it.
Interesting.
Because I wound up calling on behalf of the customer. I wound up calling to get the storage turned up. Actually, I actually went in and to his account and turned it up. But I called them to find out if there was anything I could do to unlock the account. She goes, she says, unless you want to lose something, I can't do that. So the solution was just to go in and pay $1.99 a month to bump the storage up.
Huh.
So,
in the early, well, not the early, but years ago, everybody that was doing any kind of video online was trying to use their SLR cameras as the cam, and there were a few cameras that you could do it with, and they were talking about that it's going to burn some servos, and these were digital SLRs, and the people didn't want to take a chance. Well, now it looks like Nikon has at last released software that turns your fancy DSLR or mirrorless camera into a high-end webcam. Other major camera makers have rolled out similar tools in the last several months as video calls became much more prevalent amid stay-at-home measures to combat COVID-19. The free webcam utility software is available in beta for both Windows 10 and Mac OS. Along with video conference calls, Nikon suggests you can use a mirrorless camera or DSLR for live streaming as well, just in case you've had designs on becoming a Twitch superstar designs.
That's funny. You got to take the reflex part out of the name if it's mirrorless.
Well, no, it's
there's no
two different
reflex
ones.
anymore.
No, they said DSLR or mirrorless camera.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I always wondered about that. What the implications were. You saw a lot of people shooting video with Nikon, high-end Nikon DSLRs, and it just has to hold, like you said, it has to hold the mirror open. Right?
Yeah, they were.
In order to do video.
I remember in the early days there was a lot of talk about burning the servos in the camera because it was not made
keeping the
to
magnet
sit there
on
for an hour.
Yeah.
So if you have a Nikon, go ahead and get it anyway. Even if you don't do any kind of streaming, it's a nice tool to have if you ever wanted to.
Can we talk about social media here for a minute?
Yeah.
Well, so obviously, I don't know if people, I don't know if they've been following it all that closely. There's a presidential election that took place on Tuesday. And one of the things that all of the social media companies announced beforehand was that they were going to block tweets of people making claims. And if it in fact became the case that Twitter, shocker, did just that on Tuesday, there was a period of time in which they were putting warnings on tweets from anybody related to Donald Trump about the election. And I think now the fact that Joe Biden's going to be the president is going to change that, but Section 230 there's going to be some serious debates about that. And I'm not sure if that's something that can be dealt with in the Senate, but these social media entities proved this week without a reasonable doubt that they are not curators of content, or excuse me, that they are in fact curators of content when they are specifically targeting tweets from one side and not the other. So I find it rather interesting.
And did you read that article? I think I posted yesterday about that person that used to work at Facebook on ads. He was the head of it, and he left and actually started a campaign against Trump, and he knew all the ins and outs of how the ads and where to put what and all that. And he said, I am here to turn the tide. I'm going to change the way that things come out. And apparently they spent something like $75 million following his lead in doing that. And who knows? I mean, if that's, I don't know that could have changed things, because a lot of the people that voted for Biden, I mean, they don't even use a computer, maybe. But it's well, but it's amazing that something like this can be done, and it's somebody has to put their foot on it.
Yeah, agreed.
It's I don't know. And you said now that Biden is president, you don't think anything else is going to, well, I mean, Supreme Court or whatever, not going to go in and, huh?
Well, it wouldn't be the Supreme Court's decision. I mean,
It would be their decision in order to force transparency, though.
yeah, I'm not a
But
legal person. I believe the Senate probably could do something with it, but at the end of the day, I believe it's going to require some intervention from the president. And I don't know, maybe we're wrong. Maybe we'll
well,
find out that there will be a larger attack on social media.
it's probably going to come out of the FCC, and that's going to be.
It could, yeah, but the FCC chairman is likely going to be replaced. So,
Oh, of course, yeah. So
Oh,
it
you're
all
talking about
depends.
after.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to be able to do anything between. I mean, I
Mm.
doubt they're going to do anything between now
Well,
and
it is what it is.
January. Well, yeah, but it is what it is. But it also is it's a conversation that I hope doesn't go away, because I think that we've seen, and not even just on a political side, but we've seen the bias in social media and the way that they intend
Right.
on controlling the public conversation, and that's not it's not their legal protection does not fall under that. So I hope that eventually
That
we see some sort of justice served on that, because it's rather concerning. It should be rather concerning to everybody.
again, while I was, I know I'm regressing. While I was promoting the show this morning on Gab, there was a post from Eric Trump was
Okay.
saying, is it look how fast we went from Russia rigged, Russia rigged, Russia rigged, Russia rigged, the last elections, to it cannot be rigged. One day, no, nobody can rig it. And it's yeah, it needs to be looked into. Yeah. Let's see what else. On November 5th, 2007, the Open Handset Alliance was revealed after long speculations that Google would enter the smartphone market following the purchase of a little startup named Android. Rumors had swirled around the potential G phone, but Google quashed them as it announced that Android would be an open platform for anyone. Companies including Motorola, Qualcomm, HTC, and T-Mobile were on board to help deliver the hardware, and partnership on the nascent platform would require. Google promised that Android would change the status quo, and it definitely delivered, with it now claiming over 72% of the worldwide smartphone market share. So this was only in 2007, and when you think about it, it seems like smartphones were there forever.
I mean,
I-
the iPhone came out, what, a year before that?
2007.
It's 6, right?
I
Yeah.
think the iPhone 2006.
Yeah, the original.
Yeah,
phone.
late
Yeah.
2006. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was like the 2007 was the year it took off.
I
Yeah.
remember we were still doing the radio show, and I was at the station on Friday. I think it was a Friday when it came out or when it was announced, the iPhone. And one of the girls there had one. And she said, look, I can have all my music on it and all my email on it. I said, who would want something like that? Why would you want to
You-
put on? Because
You said that?
I said that.
Oh, what's changed?
Yeah. He still says that.
I know.
I don't have any music on my phone.
Oh,
But the
God,
thing
God-
is,
God-
back
God forbid.
then, the iPod was the thing for music.
Hey,
I
Amnon,
said-
did you know that your phone has a camera?
Yeah, I use that. I started using it lately. But
He's just using it for screenshots, though.
it's a pain though, because I have to email it to myself to have it on the computer. But it's interesting. 2007 Android. That's like 13 years.
Yeah, and it's funny. You think smartphones have been out forever,
Yeah.
and the reality is that, I mean, they've been out a while, but not anywhere near as long as it seems.
Right.
And of course, we're on the precipice of new the iPhone 12 and 12 Max are out. Excuse me, the 12 Pro, but the iPhone 12 Max and Max Pro are not. I believe those come out this week or maybe next week. So yeah, the next generation is up and running.
It's amazing. We said last week, iPhone 72.
Yeah.
The way that they come out, it'll probably still be in my lifetime.
Well, and then the nice thing, say what you want about Apple. I'm not the biggest Apple fan in the world at all. But their phones do really hold usability. I mean, I'm rocking an iPhone 8 Plus, which is more than a couple of years old at this point, and it's still more than sufficient for everything that I do. And I would classify myself as a heavy tech user, or a heavy phone user rather.
For the first time in my long history of mobile phones, I have one that has more than enough memory for me.
Yeah, but that's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm out of memory at this point.
Yeah.
Which
I'm
is the main reason.
128 and I'm using about half of it. I always had 32s before, and it was just never enough.
So I've had some internet issues the past couple weeks.
Oh yeah.
Have you? I have too, with my phone losing connection and speed.
No, listen.
So-
listen to me.
So I have AT&T fiber, gigabit fiber. Got it back in July when I moved in. Had a couple issues with some construction they were doing in other neighborhoods. Since then, it's been fine. 2 Tuesdays ago, or maybe 3 Tuesdays ago, while doing Infection Podcast, the connection, Brian's connection to mine, which we use a video call service like this, like Zoom, started degrading throughout the show. And by the end of the show, it was awful. And I thought, okay, who knows? So we wrapped up the show. I went to go upload it to YouTube, and I can normally upload the show again with a gigabit internet connection. I can normally upload the show in about 2 minutes. It's about 3.5 gigabytes, but the upload speed is fine. Well, it took 45 minutes to upload, which is comparable to how long it used to take with Spectrum coax with 20 megabits up. So I did a little bit of troubleshooting. I restarted the modem, and I said, all right, I'm going to go to bed and we'll see what happens tomorrow. So I went to bed, woke up the next day. Everything was fine. Okay, problem solved. Next Tuesday rolls around, same damn issue. Start the show, connection goes to crap. Okay, no more of this. So the day after, so that night after we wrap up the show, call Spectrum, call AT&T, do a little bit of troubleshooting. They say, okay, modem, the issue's the modem. You need a new modem. So they ship me out a new modem. It comes in a couple days, plug it in. Same issue. I'm getting slower speeds and my connection is just super sporadic. So I schedule a service call. So last Sunday, a AT&T technician came out. Actually, it was the same guy that did my install, so he was familiar with my setup here, and he was unable to, using the new modem they sent me, was unable to produce the speeds necessary. So he made some changes, gave me a brand new beta modem that AT&T is rolling out that has got the ONT built into the modem. So it's an ONT modem and router, which is cool. It's got Wi-Fi 6, which is pretty sweet. Put that in place, did a little bit more testing, got the speeds up to suitable level, and said, okay, I think we're good. Let's let it ride. So that next Tuesday rolled around, and it's the worst it's been thus far. Unusable. We had to do our show audio only because I was unable to um, host the show there. And Amnon and I have done some testing, and I'm experiencing a crazy amount of packet loss. It tends to be at night, but not always. So I believe what I'm going to have to do here is probably switch to Spectrum because I'm not sure I'm ever going to get any help from AT&T.
What time was the guy? He was the guy at the house.
Midday, like
Okay.
noon.
Yeah.
But I'm getting some crazy high packet loss, and again, it's only just started. I've taken all of my equipment out of the chain, so I have no my router's been decommissioned. I don't have a wireless access point. I'm running everything off of AT&T's equipment, and I'm still experiencing pretty substantial packet loss, upwards of 5 to 12% is I think one of the tests you sent, Amnon. Which, you know, any 12% packet loss is pretty much
bad.
unusable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're struggling to do anything with 12% packet loss. So yeah, I've got a bit of an issue. It's sporadic, which is the worst kinds of issues. They're impossible to try to troubleshoot.
Well, and I
And
don't see why you're saying that it's not always true that it's at night, because I've been pinging Nick's machine a couple of times a day, and during the day it's great. I mean, solid, not losing anything. And then comes 5 o'clock, and you lose about 3 or 4 packets, and come 6 o'clock, and it's about 8, 9 packets, and by 8 o'clock it's in the hundreds. And I never stayed up to the middle of the night to see what happens, but every day it follows the same pattern. And I'm really thinking that it's
So the more you test, the worse results you get. Stop testing.
yeah, that's maybe that's what we need to do.
it's just super odd.
It is. I mean, and with fiber and the way that AT&T is doing it, it's not like Spectrum where it's shared. It's each modem has its own path, like a VPN, to their equipment. So if there are a lot of people in the neighborhood, it should not affect, but I guess it does, because
Well, it does, but packet loss would not be because of high traffic. Speeds, I could deal with slower speeds. Packet loss is indication of some sort of network or routing error. So I think the next thing I'm going to try is I'm going to call AT&T this evening and purchase a static IP or a block of static IPs and see if they'll
I don't think
give
that'll
me.
cause you. I don't think that will fix your packet loss.
Well,
Packet
if I
loss
have,
can happen either by a faulty board or a faulty wire. Nothing else.
it could be a
Routing problems won't cause that to be sporadic.
I disagree. If I'm being routed through if at night there's a router somewhere in the mix that is getting overloaded and that's my path, I that could be causing the issue. I just don't know. I've changed everything, and they've tested all the lines, and there is no issue with the fiber. And again, a line issue would be consistent, would be my thought. Now, obviously, weather and temperature all plays a factor into that as well. But I don't know. The only thing that hasn't changed thus far is my public IP address.
Nick,
And
you
that's
need to
about
change
the last thing to test.
You need to change the tarp you have over that router out in the parking lot.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
The tarp might have some
that.
holes in it. It might be water dripping on it. So just
yeah, I've tested everything. The last thing I might try today is a different outlet. I might plug it in across the house with an extension cord and see if that does anything, but I doubt it. So I'm kind of at a loss. I'm not sure what else to troubleshoot. I posted on DSL reports, and They were less than helpful. Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, it's your computer that can't run the speed test," and
No.
no, it's not that. I have a 3900X Ryzen chip, and I was able to pull these speeds consistently since July. So it's weird. I can't, being an IT person that works in troubleshooting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, essentially. Um, it's very frustrating not to be able to um, put your finger on an issue, and that's kind of where I'm at right now with AT&T. Um, I might try to get somebody back out here, but
You need to get them back there in the evening, if
well, they don't do
possible.
service calls at 9 o'clock
Well,
at night, um, so that's not going to work. But um, yeah, so we'll
Well,
see.
maybe now that the election's over and all the hacking is done, maybe now it'll be okay.
I hope.
nice.
At
I
this
tried
point,
it.
I don't care.
I tried it last night. It was still.
Well, they're still counting, right?
Fact.
You have to count so you know how many new votes you need.
Yeah.
Because it's solid right now.
Yeah. During the day, it's
And
always
it is
solid.
rock solid. I just did a speed test. It's solid.
I had some issues, and I have two AC routers, actually the same ones, different hardware generations of Archer C7s, TP-Link in my house. And I've been having connection issues. I had set up that um, automatic handoff by having the same SSID, different channels on the two different routers. And I was having issues with Amazon Fire Stick connecting. I was having issues with just really slow throughput on my phone. I'm sitting upstairs closest to the new router, and I was connected to that, but I'd have ridiculously low speed. So the thing that I think may have fixed it, I only did this yesterday, was I went in, I had auto channel selection on, and I went in and I manually changed it to channel 6 and channel 11 on both routers. I left the 5 gigahertz auto on. And it seems to be now that it's running much more smoothly, that I don't have, it was set before, it was set on auto, it was set to 2 on one router and 7 on the other one. So now that I have it set to 6 and 11, 1, 6, and 11 are the only 3 clear channels in the 2.4 gigahertz range, meaning there's no overlapping frequency. So those are the best ones to pick. But most routers come defaulted to one of those 3 if it's not auto. So it's something to look at if you have performance issues in your house.
Yeah.
I'm gonna run now. I'll run speed check on my phone and see if, and without me having to diddle with anything, and I'll see if it's still as fast as it was yesterday.
Don't you find it weird that all of these auto settings are usually just terrible?
Yes.
I-
Yeah, I think I'm
And
good.
they're
I'm getting
never
a-
really auto. They're just, some random step
Yeah.
thing instead of, I'm going to be smart about it. And then if I'm going to fail, I'm not going to return to that. It's like, I don't know. Software has evolved so much. It shouldn't be this way, but it is. Yeah.
So here's the results. I don't know if you can see this on the camera.
No. Well, yeah.
Well, yeah, it's showing through. See what the 233 meg I'm getting on my iPhone. Since I took away the auto frequency setting. Who figured, right?
Well, it should only work when you're just next to it. And
I'm close to it now. I mean, I moved it back.
It's
into
like
my
wireless
office.
charging. It's not really wireless, right? It's.
I moved it back into my office simply because I was worried that the link I had going into that room was flaky. But I'm in my office now, and the link that I have, it's the weirdest. I go from I have my router. I have a switch up here. My router's downstairs. I have a cable coming up here from the router downstairs to my switch. The switch goes into my attic, goes up into the other room on the other side of the house, where I have a small patch panel in the wall. And I have a short cable looping that back, and it comes back through my closet into my office from a different path. That's how the router's connected. So I know the link is good because all of that works. The patch cords, it's 2 runs, it's jumpers, it's receptacles, and all that stuff is working because I'm getting great speed. So it had to be the frequency that changed because it's just so bizarre. And I watched the quality of the signal on the Fire Stick as I changed the frequencies, and suddenly it went from good throughput, good signal to very good. So,
All right, Spencer, are you ready for special?
oh yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't open it up, but I will right now. Usually I have it ready to go, but it's that time already. Oh my gosh, sorry. Believe it or not, some of these retailers already have their some Black Friday stuff available and are previewing it. They've been previewing it now for weeks. Very interesting.
What in the world?
What?
November 11th?
What did I put down
Mhm.
there?
November
What is today? Why did
Hey.
I put 11th?
It doesn't matter. It's
Oh, you
fine.
know what it
You
was?
tried
I just
going Canadian.
I changed it. It was no, the last time I used this template
Yeah.
was on October 11th. So I just changed.
Oh,
I think the other, yeah, they all say November 11th. Look at that.
That's fine.
Okay, so this is from the future. I went into the time machine and I sucked it in from the future, and now that's what we get to see. Let's blow it up a little bit here. So we're actually, with this week, back to a normal, the access to what I need to find for specials. I didn't have to go to any great lengths to reformat. And so Staples and Office Depot actually have their what looks like a paper ad again, because you go in and look, and you have a choice to see the category ad or the actual paper ad. So that's a big change. They're back. Best Buy still has not, and they were a little more difficult, but not as difficult as had been. And I want to say, for the first time in months, we actually have a Brother printer available that was part of the specials. Not on sale, although the price is good, but there hasn't been a Brother printer available to buy anywhere. So that tells you something about Brother. Either they didn't make enough of them, or they're so popular that people bought them up real quick, which I always recommend Brother to people. I've, knock on wood, had good luck. Although there are other good lasers out there. That's not to say that there aren't. But Brother just seems to have, for me anyway, worked real well. Okay, so starting with Staples, Computers 2K Now specials for November 8th, right? That's today's date, right?
Yeah.
2020. We have at Staples, we've got an HP Core i5 Pavilion laptop for $539, normally $749, $210 off. This is a 15.6-inch screen. Got an HP 24-inch all-in-one i3 for $529, save $100. Got a Lenovo Idea Center 5 i5 desktop computer for $469, which is $130 off. And all of these have 8 gig of memory and minimum 200x meg SSD drives. So some have larger solid state drives, but most of them at least 240 or whatever the numerical actual equivalent is of that size drive. We've got a Samsung SSD 500 gig for $54.99, $35 off. That is a good deal.
Yeah.
I mean, I've bought the last couple of SSDs I've bought were 500s. I haven't bought a 256 or whatever. I think it comes out to 240 in a while. Although there's still a fact, this machine has a 2 240 as the C drive, and then I have most of my programs loaded on another drive, unless the stuff I use frequently are all on the SSD. Okay, brother, USB monochrome laser with duplex. So this is the basic desktop size printer, USB connect only, does not have Wi-Fi, but it does have two-sided printing for 99 bucks, available at Staples. Apple AirPods second generation for 129, that's 30 off. Got a 23.8-inch Acer monitor for $89. That's a good price. It saved 10. So the prices have come down. The regular price of this monitor is 99. So it used to be with COVID, it was gone. It was just sold out. Logitech compact 2.1 wired PC speakers, $24.99, $5 off. Logitech M310, M325, 325C, or M330 wireless mice for $299, $5 off. APC 650 VA battery backup and surge protector for $64.99. That's 12 off. And the prices of the external drives are coming back into reality again, but this is a good sale. Seagate Backup Plus 6 terabyte for 99. Although it was funny, they sold the 4 and the 6 for the same price. So you could go buy this same drive in 4 and the same drive in 6 and have the same sale price. So why would you buy the 4? So
Because
the
something will not be compatible with it.
possibly. Well, what's nice about the Seagate ones, the Backup Plus, they have various grades of warranty and various grades of functionality. This has 2 additional USB ports on the front that you can use to plug in other storage to share through the USB cable to the PC or to the network, which is pretty neat. And finally, we've got a Canon Pixma TR4520 wireless all-in-one inkjet printer for $79.99, which is $20 off. So if you're waiting on a inkjet printer or waiting on a laser, here's a couple good opportunities. Although there is one Canon on here, it's worth mentioning on the next. So moving on to Office Depot Office Max, we've got a Lenovo Ideapad S340, very popular machine. This is an i7 machine, 15.6, 256 gig SSD, 8 gig memory, $569, which is $210 off the regular price. I just installed one of these, the 340. It's a good machine. Lenovo Idea Center 510A desktop Core i5 for $549, which is 70 off. Good entry level price on a nice machine. Asus VivoBook 15. This is a 15.6 inch AMD Ryzen 3, 8 gig of memory for $369, which is $80 off. If you're looking for a larger, higher duty cycle laser printer for an office setting, a Canon Image Class MF236H monochrome all-in-one laser printer for $134, which is $65 off the regular price. And this has got a document feeder for copying, for faxing, and for scanning. It's got lots of nice features in it, and it's got a nice size paper tray. So good deal on a Canon printer. Okay, storage. We've got Western Digital Elements 1 terabyte portable drive, 64 meg cache, $54.99. That's pretty much, you can get down into the $49 range sometimes with sales on a 1T USB portable drive. But this is always just a real good thing to do. Casual backups when you're traveling to back up stuff that you want to have. Large files that you want to take with presentations and throw it in your bag. It's a good deal. Everybody should have one of these just as a utility drive to do backups. Okay, we've got a 1 terabyte solid state drive for $119. That's $30 off the regular price, and that's amazing that it's $149 for a 1 terabyte SSD as the regular price, and that's a Samsung drive. Got an IO Gear USB 3 universal docking station for $121, and that's got an Ethernet port on it. It's got HDMI. It's got a bunch of USB 2s. It's got USB-C. I think it has USB-C. I have to check it. But IO Gear, a good brand. Um, got the next one is a USB-C to HDMI multi-port video adapter converter for $80. What I like about this is it's not just HDMI and an additional USB-C and a USB 3.0, 3.1. It also has an Ethernet port on it. So this is what this is what I would say would be a really good addition to anybody's tech kit for working on machines or startup, for re-imaging machines when you don't have drivers, where you run into an issue with connecting. Either the Ethernet port is not operative or something's going on. You can get to take the driver for this machine with you and load it as you load the OS and have. Well, I should say you get your basic operation going. You need to load updates. You want to have Ethernet there. You want to have a driver for a network connection. Okay, we've got a. How did I mess this up here? Oh, okay.
Deskjet.
I had to kind of reformat the last few things here. We've got an HP Deskjet 2724 wireless inkjet all-in-one. I think it's got a scan function too. It does not have a feeder. But $69, which is $10 off the regular price. Got a SanDisk Ultra USB 3 flash drive, 128 gig for $17.99. That's $24 off the regular price. This next camera, it's not on sale, but it's still a good deal. J5 Create USB HD Webcam 360 installed. I've installed several of these. There are lots of knockoffs of these in the maybe $10 to $15 cheaper. I don't know who makes them, whether that's all the same, coming out of the same plants, but this is a fairly good webcam. And finally, just back to good old supplies, right? A case, I don't know how many reams. This looks like it could be
10.
I didn't click on it to see, but there's a box of reams of multi-use paper. Normally $66 for $29.99, so a little more than half price on supplies. Finally, they're catching up. Okay, finally, with Best Buy, we've got an Asus ZenBook 14-inch AMD Ryzen 5 for $599, 100 off. That's got a 256 SSD and an 8 gig of memory. They've got a Lenovo ThinkPad L13 Yoga 2-in-1 13.3-inch touchscreen laptop, Intel Core i5, 8 gig, 256 SSD for $699, which was 200 off. We've got an HP Envy Desktop i7, 16 gig of memory, 512 SSD, a $794, which is $75 off. And finally, a Dell Inspiron 3880 desktop i5, 12 gig of memory, 256 for $549, which is $100 off. So prices on I would call mid-level machines, not high-end scientific machines, but certainly mid-level, high capacity business grade machines coming down. Entry-level laptops are still hard to find. You go to look at the list of on each of these sites, show me the lowest price to highest price. You're going to see all the lowest prices. You're going to see a lot of out of stock. So those entry level machines are still haven't caught up. Okay, we've got an Acer 23.6-inch monitor for $89. It's normally $129, so 40 off. Here's an interesting little adapter here. It's only $699, $3 off. It's a USB A to C adapter. And when I first read this, I thought, oh, you plug in to the A and get a C out. No, it's the opposite. You plug into a C and get an A out, which more and more machines now, for hardware reasons, space reasons, are using USB-C, which actually is a better technology than A.
Supposedly.
USB-C. What?
Supposedly.
I mean, but
Not
a lot of
supposedly.
devices now come with C. And if
It's
you're
better.
short on space, you'll have C, you won't have A. So this is an adapter for those environments where you have a C and you can plug it in and convert it to a 3.1. $699. It's reasonable. We've got a Samsung 1 terabyte drive for 119. So that's a little cheaper than what was the other price?
This was the same, I think, 119.
Ooh, sorry, I'll find it. Yeah, it was also 119. So you have an alternate place to go get it.
Yeah.
So if it's out of stock. We've also got a Western Digital 1 terabyte PCI Express solid state drive for 134, $125 off. So if you have the real estate to install this, I don't know, this longer, you guys might know this longer form factor for for PCI Express. Do they have this in laptops?
I thought this was an M2. Maybe not.
It looks like the
Well,
longer form factor.
M2 is PCI Express, right? It's just a
Yeah.
different form factor.
Right.
So yes, you're right. It's both.
Okay, so are there laptops that have this form factor?
Most laptops today, when you see they have an SSD inside, they actually have one of those.
Okay, so this longer one, they do make a shorter version of this, right? That's what
No, I
didn't
don't think they
understand.
make for discs. No, that's the form factor for
Yeah,
discs.
so you'd have trouble putting this into unless you had an adapter, you'd have trouble putting this into a desktop because of how tall it is, potentially. Well, that's
No, it's a standard size.
standard height of a regular card.
Yeah,
Well,
it's not half
It's
size.
not exactly. It's okay. So, did you work with M2? Did you hold one in your hand?
No, that's why I'm asking. So I've never
Okay,
done.
so give me
Oh, go ahead. If you have
2
one to show
secs.
us, that'd be great.
Yeah, give me 2 secs.
Okay,
It's just in the other
I'll
room.
move on. And finally, we've got Amazon Echo Show 5-inch smart display with Alexa for $44.99, which is $45 off. Just installed this for a customer, and they're using it for their Ring doorbell, which is interesting, among other things. But that's the main reason why they bought it, so that if somebody rings a doorbell, this screen just pops up with the ring for the person at the door. I'll talk about that install too later because that was interesting. It wasn't a doorbell; it was a floodlight, but it was installed in kind of an unconventional way.
Hmm.
And finally, Lenovo smart clock with Google Assistant for $39, which is $40 off the regular price. Don't know what the size of the screen is. It looks like it's pretty close to the 5-inch. So it's got a direct line to Jack. You press the Jack button and you go right to his personal machine, wherever he is that day. You want to talk to him. Did you see the picture of him when he was testifying in front of
No.
the Senate? How he literally looked like he was so scruffy looking with his weird beard, and he's got a nose ring in and all this stuff. It's just he looked like Howard Hughes. Okay, so this is a lot smaller than I thought. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you, Bill.
So
Wait.
this is an M2, right? And so
Yeah, it's the same.
the connector, right, theoretically can fit inside a PCI Express as well as the specific sockets that are created for it. The
Right.
whole idea is that unlike SATA, right, this sits on the PCI bus.
So there's no controller talking to the bus; it's direct.
Right.
Yeah.
The controller is the chip itself or whatever. The storage itself sits on the bus, so that's why the speeds are a lot better. I took this out of a computer that I upgraded. This is a 256, and I use it today with this little adapter, right? And see the way you plug it in, right? It's exactly the same on laptops and on PCs as well. There's a socket. You push it in, then you clamp it down there. So there's this spring effect by the side,
Right.
and there's a nut that you just a screw that you just put there, and that's the way it sits on the board, right? It's completely flat.
And what connectors on the other end?
This one is a USB-C. It has this enclosure. I put it in.
Oh,
I'll
nice.
fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll fit it up. So yeah,
You can build
and
your own
yeah.
portable
So
SSD.
once I took it out, this way I still use it uh, exactly for what you did, like migrations and data recovery, stuff like that.
Cool. Thank you. And that's it for specials for November 8th, 2011.
That's it.
Yep. And we're at the already. What store was I in the other day? They've already got Lowe's has had the Christmas trees set up now for 2 weeks. And the store I was in, I guess I was in Walmart yesterday. The Christmas carols are playing already. They haven't even waited till after Thanksgiving. So
Well,
interesting.
anyhow,
They want to make sure people do their Christmas shopping before they get infected with anything. So.
No, it's before society collapses. That's
Yeah.
what they're saying is we're all going to be living in caves. So,
no, nah.
I have this brand new 70-inch TV, but I can't plug it in.
But
I have no power.
You gotta admit though, right? And I'm guessing you are like me, a sci-fi aficionado. Uh, the fact that so many people are quoting, right, science fiction stories
Yes.
as possible reality suddenly makes us not that big of a nerds.
I always felt that sci-fi, not sci-fi fantasy, but sci-fi, true hardcore sci-fi
Yeah.
that's based on theoretical science is the harbinger of what's to come. I mean, look at 2001, the movie.
Yep.
So many things were predicted in that movie. In
Yeah, before
1964, he had tablets, he had communication devices, he had all these things that were unheard of. It's just amazing. I mean, you look at early Isaac Asimov, you look at early Ray Bradbury, you look at all these amazing Fred Hoyle, amazing writers who wrote. Fred Hoyle was a physicist was he an astrophysicist? I'm trying to remember now. But he wrote some. He was in his own right as a scientist, but he wrote science fiction too. British guy. I read all his books in the 1970s, and they were written in the 50s that are still applicable today.
So I was having this thought a while back, a few years back, that Facebook, right, was something that science fiction didn't really predict. But then I discovered Brave New World by Aldous Huxley.
Oh.
That's Facebook.
Yeah.
That's Facebook.
Yeah.
That's like 100% that. It's just I was just not digging deep enough. It was there all the time. It wasn't it's not 1984 because it isn't really forced, but Brave New World is like this. Oh, this is a reality. If you do this, then you stay happy, right? And so this is exactly.
I think when
so
I
yeah.
read Brave New World, what horrified me was the whole, like, what did they call it? Decanting. Nobody was born; you were decanted. So the songs that the kids sang when they were little, happy decanting or something. There was no birthday, and so they would take the fertilized egg and put it into a incubator machine that sat on a wheel that turned in a 9-month cycle. And as the babies would grow, they'd start off at the beginning of the line, and the thing would turn that slowly. So at the end of the 9 months, they get to the end of the line, and they would be decanted. Basically, they'd open the bottle and let out the baby.
So
and they'd go to the.
It was a decanter.
That's it. That's what I mean. So that's what that was the term, was decanting.
What are we drinking out of the decanter?
Anything we can get our hands on at this moment.
Fantastic.
So, anything.
Yesterday, we were sitting here and watching Big Bang, and they were depressed. The two scientists, Sheldon and what's his name, whatever. and they wanted to start drinking. So he said, "Yeah, I've bought 4 bottles of this. Let's drink." And then one of the girls come in. She said, "You're drinking mouthwash?"
Oh, oh, oh,
Anyway,
that'll kill you.
yeah. So you're talking about there's the holidays coming and all that. Fake reviews on Amazon.com during the pandemic have reached levels typically seen during the holiday shopping season. About 42% of 720 million Amazon reviews assessed by the monitoring service FakeSpot Inc. from March through September were unreliable, up from about 36 for the same period last year. The rise in fake reviews corresponded with the stampede online of millions of virus avoiding shoppers. 42%. I mean, don't even pay attention. Don't look.
My regular habit now is anything I look at on Amazon, I always look at the 1 ratings.
Yeah, but again,
First place I go. I don't look at, how many people voted 5 stars. Oh, 5 stars, it's 80%.
yeah, but
No,
Spence,
look at the one,
if
look
it's
at the ones.
but if it's fake and you have I mean, the fakes will write a 1 also, and that will really tilt it.
Right. Well, I'm just saying is whether I trust it or not, that's always the first place I go is the bad ratings.
Oh.
Just because
On Amazon, I use fake spot, but on
Yeah,
eBay,
that's
there's
who.
no real way.
Yeah,
And even
I-
that
it's-
is probably isn't foolproof.
you shop on Amazon and you go to find a cheaper price on eBay. So
Oh,
you
No,
you
in-
verify the product first on Amazon. You find out the ratings and research it, and then you go find it cheaper on eBay.
let me tell you something. I used to do that, but in most cases now, Amazon is actually cheaper than eBay.
I've noticed that too, and I've noticed a lot of the sellers that you see on Amazon
Yeah,
appear on
the-
eBay.
on eBay, absolutely.
just on
Yuppers.
Amazon, if you have something to solve, it's a lot easier, right? Because
Yeah.
Amazon is backing that part.
Um,
I
with-
ordered something off of Slick Deals couple weeks ago. It was a Zippo lighter for like $6. Now, obviously, Zippo lighters are substantially more expensive than $6, but it was on Slick Deals. It was on Amazon Prime, so I said I bought it. Okay. So I waited. Got an email from Amazon yesterday that the seller is no longer on Amazon and my product will not be shipped. So
yeah,
it was in fact a
Scam.
fake post. But it's weird though, because I mean, I can't imagine they got away with any money. So I'm not really sure how the scam runs, or if it's even a scam. Who knows? They may have had a small amount of them, and then it got picked up by Slick Deals, and they ran out. I'm not I'm not sure exactly.
or it was scam to begin with, and finally got caught and kicked
Yeah,
out.
but there's no scam because Amazon doesn't pay the seller directly. That's
No.
what I'm saying. It's just kind of a weird. It's kind of a weird thing.
I don't know.
If
So-
it's Amazon Prime, you're right. He had to have
a bunch of stuff,
yeah.
merchandise over at their
I know.
warehouse.
stock.
It's very,
he
very
had
weird.
to have stock with Amazon already. So
Yeah. I'm not sure how the scanner, if there is even a scam. But nevertheless, the product never came and it's not going to come, which is
Yeah.
fine. I mean, I didn't need it. I just was like, damn, that's such a good deal. It was one of those things that was like, if it shows up, great. If not, great. It was just such a good price for it. I couldn't not purchase it. I think it was like normally a $35 lighter for $6. I mean, it was a unbelievably unrealistic deal.
I have an ozone generator that I bought some years ago. to
Did you buy it at InfoWarsStore.com?
no.
Okay.
It's great to put it in the car, and like somebody that smokes, it destroys odors, and it lost its effectiveness. So I changed the uh plates inside, and the plates are pretty cheap. You buy them from eBay; they come from China. So when Hannah wanted to reuse the Pathfinder, I mean, it smelled like mildew inside. So I decided, yeah, I'm gonna do it. So I said, okay, I had an older one that I had already on the shelf. I put it in, works great. I said, well, I'll better order some now when I have time. So I ordered two, and they came in, and they came from China. One of them was broken. Now, those of you that don't know the what it is, it's just a little plate. It's maybe 1/16 thick, about 4 inches long and 2 inches wide, and it looks sort of like what the rear window in a car with a um, defogger uh, strips on it, and that's what it is. It's connections on that board, and when you run some kind of power through it, it generates ozone. So it was broken, completely broken, right in the middle. So I said I needed to return it. The guy answered the next day, said, "Can't you glue it back together?"
Oh my God.
He said, "We'll give you a 30% discount." And the whole thing is about $7. I sent him a picture. I said, "Look, this is ceramic. It has wiring built in. There's no way to glue that thing together. I guess you don't know what you're selling." And he said, "Well, we'll give you a refund. We'll get it from you. Once we'll get it from you." I said, "That's fine. Send me bless you, send me a
Thank you.
label." So eBay sent me a notice and said that they accepted the return, that the seller accepted it and is going to send a label. 2 seconds later, another message from them saying, "Oh, the seller said they cannot buy a return label from China. So you need to get in touch with them." So I got in touch with them. He said, "Well, send it back and then we'll refund you." I said, "I'm going to have to ask uh, eBay first if they will stand by that, because I don't know who you are, and obviously you don't even know what you're selling. And besides, you are aware that the shipping of this broken piece that I showed you is broken is probably going to cost 10 times more than what it's worth, and you're going to have to refund this." I did not hear from them yet, but it's interesting that things like this that on Amazon would have been sold, bam. And when it comes to eBay, yeah, oh yeah, write them, and if you don't hear by that date, then get in touch with us, and oh, but it's fine. Now, we talked about Brave last week, the um, browser.
They were disabling something, no?
They were enabling some kind of or disabling somebody from advertising or something like that. It says after 1 year after its first 1.0 release, Brave says it has hit the milestone of 20.5 million active monthly users. At the same time last year, the browser had 8.7 million active monthly users. And of the 20 million monthly users, 7 million are daily users, which represents more than a doubling of last year's 3 million. This is coming from ZDNet. And they added that since Apple allowed browsers other than its own to be the default option on iOS, it has seen its iOS user base increase by a third. Um, Reading too much about Brave, I'm figuring I'm gonna go and install it.
I mean, it's Chrome.
It
It's
is?
basically Chrome just stripped down, as far as I recall.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, in that case, never mind.
I might be wrong, but that's what I remember looking at it a while back.
No,
Yeah, it's Chrome.
yeah, I'm not interested in another Chrome.
Yeah. Nothing. I mean, the best Chrome right now is Microsoft Edge.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I never thought I'd I'd side with the default. It's not exactly the default. You still need to do an extra click, right, to get it after a fresh install.
right.
But it's like the Microsoft provided one is currently doing the best work, and it's part of the OS. So it minimizes the overhead.
So you're using it
I use
instead of
Firefox.
yeah,
I use
me too.
Firefox, but I
Right.
use on my work computer laptop. Firefox is not allowed inside.
Oh,
They do not want any. They only support the Chrome like, or in this case Edge, because that's the that has the most market share, and so they don't want to support any low market share browsers, right, inside the IT environment, security and all that, and taking care of patches and all that. So they said, they used to say only Chrome, but now Edge is supported because it's also built in, and it's pretty much Chrome. Works without a problem for me. I would prefer Firefox, as I'm doing on my home computer, but
hmm,
other than that, yeah.
yeah. I still don't know how to allow certain sites to remember other tabs. What did you set up on my machine? The containers.
Oh, that's easy.
I know.
I'll show
Let's
you.
not get into
I'll
it
show
now.
you. I'll show you afterwards.
Mm.
All you need to do is
But
just open that in a specific container.
well,
Once you do that, right, then the moment you return to that specific container, you're inside.
yeah, because I'm
But yeah,
still, if I go from one Amazon to another on a different tab, log
yeah,
in
I know what
again
you
and
mean.
all that. So
Because no
it's fine,
cookies.
but it's
Yeah,
secure.
yeah.
It's nice. All right, so we here's something else, and it's like a continuation of the story. 2 weeks ago, the RIAA asked GitHub to remove the open source Stream Reaper software YouTube DL. It was some kind of software that allows people to rip videos.
YouTube dash DL is an open source software command line
Yeah,
that you give it a URL of a video source, not just YouTube,
right.
Vimeo, any of these, and it just gives you a file.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this request wasn't well received by developers, many of whom retaliated by posting copies of the code. Now, yesterday, things went from bad to worse when a user with the name of FUCK the RIA uploaded 3 MP3s of the songs the RIAA mentioned in its takeout notice. A few hours ago, we spotted, and this is from Slashdot, they said, we spotted a new GitHub username, F the RIAA, who uploaded a copy of YouTube's YouTube DL as well as a F the RIAA repository that includes 3 songs. These songs from Taylor Swift, Justin Timberlake, and Icona Pop were not chosen randomly. The same tracks were mentioned in the RIAA original YouTube DL code. This is yet another example that shows how the group, no, how the RIAA takedown request has actually made things worse for the music group, at least for now. After nearly a day, the 3 MP3 files are still available on GitHub. It seems likely that it will send another DMCA takedown request to remove the tracks from GitHub. Whether the RIA will also file takedown notice to remove all the new YouTube DL forks has yet to be seen. For now, its takedown effort have only made things worse. So they may let things cool down for a little while before exploring other options. So they figured, oh yeah, we're gonna do it, and actually they made it so more people will go to get it, more people will know about it, more people will go after it. They really made things worse for themselves. Or for
Yeah,
the
looks like YouTube DL has registered youtube-dl.org in response for people to find it. It's the top hit in search engines.
see?
And they've also registered yt-dl.org. And it says currently our dev repository, which is pointing to the original GitHub location, is taking down due to a DMCA takedown notice. And there's some, it refers to something on GitHub with the notice. But it points to downloads that still work. It's still hosted. This
Well,
is a fight between, well, basically piracy and business, right? And now, to be fair, YouTube DL, yes, it is being created to be able to download streams that the site doesn't offer to download.
right.
But please remember, when you play something online, you are practically downloading. What YouTube DL does, it's just doing this and allowing you to do it offline.
And to
You're
save it.
taking,
And to save it.
yeah, and yeah, and
Yeah.
save it. It's automatically saved
Right.
for you as well
Absolutely.
in your cache
Yeah.
while you're doing it anyway, right?
Right.
It's just a bypassing the hurdles of technology. It is not cracking anything. It is not decrypting anything. It is not doing anything, sinister. It's not stealing. It's how should I put it? It's not breaking the glass on a store and taking, right?
Mhm.
It's creating a local copy of something that is available online. It does pretty much what Web Archive does by default, right? The
Right.
www archive,
Yeah.
right?
Archive.org. Yeah.
So, I mean,
Well,
they want to put it behind a paywall. They want to put it in some sort of encryption. I don't think YouTube DL will be able to fight that. They won't even try. But taking down the software just because the other side has everything open and they're feeling like people are taking from me. I don't know. Feels like they're chasing the wrong end. It's like when MP3 started, right? To be a popular format, the RIAA looked for any possible way of outlawing
mhm.
MP3. Come on, this is not the way.
The and in addition to that, they say there was another article that says while the RIAA has objected to a tool for downloading online videos, EFF senior activist Elliot Harmon responds with this question: who died and left them in charge of YouTube? I mean, you can get it from anywhere, like Gal said. I mean,
Yeah.
software like that is nice when there's a video somewhere and you want to keep it, and they don't give you a chance to download it or buy it even.
They're practically outlawing VCR recorders,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That's the same concept. It's a VCR recorder for the digital age. It's just that. I see something cool on YouTube. I want a copy of it. So when it, when somebody gets tired of it, might take it off. So nobody's making money out of YouTube DL. It's an open source, open group. I mean, there are sites that are using the code, right, and are posting advertisement and all that. But YouTube DL itself is the technology.
Right.
So attacking the technology, I think they should attack, keys, locksmith, right, for opening doors that shouldn't be opened. Come on.
Yeah, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
Anything somebody wants to talk about? No.
Not much. I've been dealing this week. I haven't been successful yet with data recovery. A friend had a video project on a laptop, SSD, not a mechanical drive, and accidentally the laptop was alone. Before copying over the video, they erased using Microsoft. They erased the account, and so can't find the files. Now I've used a bunch of undelete tools. Most of them were free. I used a couple of sharewares to see if I can identify the file. I gotta say, I thought it'll be a lot easier. I'm still struggling with it. I'm pretty sure the data is there. They haven't worked a lot with the laptop after that. The hard drive isn't full, so I don't think there's a lot of override there. But the tools available,
I
I
wonder
thought
if
it'll
there's
be a lot easier.
anything different about the way an SSD opens up. I mean, on a spinning drive. If you overwrite the volume table of contents, the data's still there. Right? It just doesn't point to it anymore. So I don't know how it deals with
Same
it on an
here.
SSD.
Same here. Exactly the same thing. And that's the thing. It's like, and a video file is usually easy to identify. They're usually large, right?
Yeah.
It should be, but somehow
So
it's proving difficult.
what was it? Go back again and tell me how it happened.
So the story, right? I don't know how it happened, but the
Oh.
story is they worked on the video, produced it. They even showed it to the family. A couple of days passed. They needed to return the computer, so they erased. The kid who did it erased the account using Microsoft. You go
When you
to
say
remove my
what was
account
what happened? How come they had to do that? It's
because
just
they logged in with their own, Windows account, the Microsoft Live account.
Oh, you mean on somebody else's
Yeah.
machine?
Yeah, on somebody else's
Oh,
machine.
okay.
So they wanted to remove that before they return, just to be courteous. Nothing sinister, nothing.
Right.
But they didn't make a copy of it before, and of a week or a couple of weeks passed, and then somebody said, "Hey, where's that file?" And then everybody, oops. So time passed, but from my understanding, the fact that the computer was returned doesn't mean that the computer was actually used. I got the computer after they already booted it up a couple of times. They already tried recovering using, undelete and from the cycle bin and stuff like that. So it's not like nobody touched it since the deletion, but still, I was expecting to find, I don't know, something, but proving difficult. I'm still gonna go at it today and can complete try to see what else I can find. The tools available are actually quite interesting. I'm using paid software called RStudio, which seems to be very promising, but still I can't find the data. It's interesting. Learning a lot.
See, so much could happen in the background that we're not
Yeah.
aware of.
Yep.
Yeah. It's
I mean,
frustrating.
did you try? I mean, what was it? The one that I used, Recover. There's a program called Recover, VA at the end, not
Isn't that
Recover.
an
Yeah.
Isn't that an
Recover
upholstery
is
site?
Recover is one of the first thing I tried.
Okay,
It was weak compared to the paid software.
okay.
Yeah, I tried it.
Oh well.
What about a professional service?
I mean, we might try that. It's the thing is, I don't think they do anything different on this particular scenario. They're just using some sort of tool. They'll probably dump everything into another drive, and you'll need to go and scour that drive for the content. And when that happens, it's not like everything is named properly or everything is identified properly. It's just whatever the tool outputs. So
I remember back before SSDs talking to somebody about companies that do recovery and how the really good ones, the professional ones that do massive scale and have guarantees, they have individual controllers for all drives made at the time or within reason, so they had actually had the physical controller board that they could put onto if that was the issue, or
yeah, not only that,
compatible controllers.
yeah, they rewrite the firmware on them.
Yep.
So they can access it while there are errors and stuff like that. Yeah, it's really cool.
It was really amazing.
They're real hackers. They're hackers of technology.
They were expensive. I mean, you talk about data recovery. It wasn't
They
like
still exist. All of these.
I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
But you look at when you buy a drive on Amazon. I said, would you like to buy a data recovery plan for for $695?
Oh yeah.
It's like
that means nothing.
That's not the same thing.
No.
Usually it means for them it's, hey, we'll give you another drive if this one fails. But the data is going.
Yep.
All right.
I think you should switch to saving everything on an iOmega drive.
On paper.
Print everything.
I just bought $150,000 worth of tape drives. If anybody needs to archive data, just let me know.
Tape drives? What kind of tape?
Yep. VHS tapes.
Oh, that's cool. Hey,
so you watch through your data.
Why can't you save data on that, right?
Well, you can. So, and then you put it in your VCR, and you have to convert the binary to.
No, there's glasses
usable
for
data.
that.
Can you use YouTube DL on that?
You put them on it.
Yeah, why not? I do like the idea. You put special glass on the convert binary to data. It's a good idea, Spence.
There's eye drops you can put in it.
I can see the Matrix.
That's some Sky Mall. That's some Sky Mall stuff if I've ever heard of it. Data glasses.
This is a long time ago, Nick, but we type in programs on like the 99 4A, and you'd use a special cassette deck that would save the programs on a cassette, like an audio cassette.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I had that from my
Tinkler Spectrum was like that.
Yeah. It was super slow.
It wasn't it wasn't a special cassette or
no, I'm saying it was
the only
actually the one I had.
It was a special cassette player.
No,
one that you can control the distance of the reading head from the tape.
Correct.
Yes. It
was called a programmer's cassette player. You might get away with a regular Walkman, but
I don't know about a Walkman.
But if that doesn't work,
but the one that you had to have was one that has the counter. You have to have the counter so you know where to go to the next program.
I had a GE.
But it was a regular.
I had a GE one that was specifically designed for data. Had the counter, had some other things to it. The sound quality was horrible because you wouldn't use it for that, right?
No.
But it had all the connections. I remember buying the 99 4A. It was the Christmas of 1984.
Yep.
And I bought it at a Target in Denver, Colorado, because we were living out there for 6 months. And I remember typing in "crazy climber."
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I bought a
How
magazine
long?
that had the and I'm saving it on the tape. And the next day I type in a little more, and I save it on the tape, and it worked.
It
But
does.
God, it took
Yeah.
me hours and
Yeah.
hours and hours
Yeah,
to
yeah,
type
yeah.
all that in,
I
But
just
used
it
for a
to
was fun.
stupid
so
game.
yeah, we used to buy. I was a kid at that time, like literally like 6, 7 years old. My dad brought a Sinclair Spectrum from a trip in the UK, back to Israel, and we hooked it up and started the manual. The manual had code in it for like simple programs, like 10 rows of programming, but there was also like a longer version of table pong where you control control the slab at the bottom, and it
Mhm.
would remove blocks. So that was with the user guide, but then we started getting magazines and buying books,
Yep.
as me and a bunch of friends, with the code in them, and we would just copy them.
Yeah.
The beginning.
You were actually typing or programming in assembly or an extended
Well, not
basic.
assembly. It was basic for
Basic.
that specific
Yeah.
one, but yeah.
For the
Yeah.
99 4A, there was also assembly, and you could. It came in the magazine. Yeah.
You could use the basic commands to write directly into memory, and that would be basically machine language.
Yeah, but then you
Because
lose it.
yeah, so it was weird. There were some tricks that you could only do that way, right?
So Nick,
Sorry, I'm not.
wouldn't that be fun today to write a game, and survival game? Type it in.
You'll be subscribed to Steam magazine, and every week they would send out a new game inside an article of
Yep.
30 pages that you need to
To
copy
type in.
and type it in. And if you had one typo there, it
Yes.
won't work.
Yep.
Must suck.
Yeah.
It
Remember
was an interesting, bizarre form of fun. Yeah.
I can remember going when I was in community college taking basic, but it was punch cards. And you type in, you go and sit there and you type in your program, and then you have to wait in line at the window to have them run it. And if you had time to wait for it, sometimes you have to drop it off and come back. But if there was a mistake in it, you had to go and find the mistake. And
It was a
then
hanging Chad.
that's it. Yeah. But you wouldn't know till you ran it.
Yeah.
You go back even further than that. When I was in high school, we had a teletype with an acoustical coupler. You dial the wherever the system was for the school district. It might not have been in the school district, but you plug it in. It was a paper tape teletype machine where you type in, and we played Star Trek on it. And it was where you'd actually put commands in, just type in commands and send them, and then it would come back and say, I can't remember what we used to do, but we try to fight another ship using like almost no information. It would take forever to play, but yeah, we're going back to that now.
Ah.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
They're repairing all the teletype machines.
Yeah.
Bring them back.
I still have one in the shed outside. Remember?
You have a teletype machine?
Yeah.
Does it work?
As far as I know, I have only one roll of paper.
Can I have it?
What are you going to? It's huge.
Oh, never mind. I don't want it.
You should set up Amazon. You should just, punk people by cleaning
Bring
it up
it.
a little bit
Yeah.
and say, "I'm going to come and install your new machine. Here's a picture of it."
You should hook it up to a phone line and start calling people with it.
When I worked
Ah.
in field service in IBM, I would go out when they needed somebody to go cover a call and I wasn't trained on it. I'd still go because it was, maybe I can help. They can tell me what to do. I wasn't trained on the really, really old stuff. There was something called the Selectric 1920. I think I got the number right. Maybe Gene, you'd remember. 1920 something. But it was actually a Selectric typewriter that worked over a start-stop telecommunication line. And it was mostly household finance company. They had them at all their locations. They sent me out there one time to try to figure out what was wrong with it. I said, I have no typewriter training. I have no Selectric training. I'm communication trained, but this stuff is so old. I never touched start stop. I worked on all BISYNC and higher protocols. It's like, so I went in there and actually found the problem. It was a jammed card. And fixed it.
So you jammed
Amazing.
it.
Yeah, because it had a card reader.
Mm-hmm.
It had a controller. It had the teletype for printing it. I think it had a card. Either it's a tape reader or card reader. I can't remember. Might have been a tape reader. But something was messed up with the tape with reading it. Amazing. Back in Poughkeepsie, the credit union was most people that work for IBM had a credit union account and they could get their paychecks deposited. And even in the let's see, when did I move here? So late 1980s, they still delivered the payroll on punch cards in a box to be tabulated at the bank to do the wire transfers. It was not electronic. It was so they had a card reader in the basement. And when that broke, everybody's paycheck was delayed. What a mess.
Sounds like our current voting system.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they took that machine, Nick, and that's what they're using now to tabulate the.
Now, obviously, 100,000 votes, right?
Yeah.
It was a card reader. Okay, thanks, Gene. Yeah, I couldn't remember.
All right. Anything else? Nothing. Going once? Going twice? All right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Spence.
If you stay on for the next program, we're going to have time. We're going to be selling timeshares.
We're gonna stay after we log off so I can fix that audio thing. But thanks, Spence, Gal, Nick, and good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna. Thanks everybody for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope I forgot to mention Arlet and Micha. Thanks everybody for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. Tonight at 7, Nick, you're doing a show, right?
Yes, sir.
Tonight at 7 at atnshow.com. You can listen to Nick doing his show. And if you're anywhere around Wilmington or TuneIn, you can listen to it on 106.7 Wilmington Big Talker. And Tuesday is going to be Infection. Hopefully everything will be fine by then.
That's the plan.
Yeah. So Tuesday at 7, it's Nick's and Brian's program about survival games. 7 o'clock on Twitch. And it's called Infection Podcast. All right, everybody. See you next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.